What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Petersen. We got a good show for each and every one of you guys today. We're going to start off with Baltimore Ravens draft targets. Ravens picking at 14th overall this year. Some decent excitement with them being that high of a pick. Cannot wait to see who they take. Got to be edge or defensive tackle or offensive lineman. Decent bit of holes to fill. We'll see where they go. After that, we're going to go live Ravens Rundown mailbag. Your questions, my answers. All of them coming from our Wednesday live show. All the real ones of the flock who are in there gave us great questions. We'll get into those later. Let's start with the targets. These all come from Mel Kiper's newest big board. David Bailey, number 1. Edge rusher out of Texas Tech University. Mel Kiper actually has him as number 6 on his big board. And I don't know if you watched that Texas Tech-Oregon game in the first round of the college football playoffs or the second round of the college football playoffs, but if you did, then you know the name David Bailey because he was absolutely unbelievable. Double-digit sacks at Texas Tech this last year. He's got a chance to come into the National Football League and be an impact player at a very, very important position in year 1. If he fell down to 14 to the Baltimore Ravens, it would be very, very hard for me to pass up from the talent out of Lubbock. Number 2, Kayden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Number 15 on the big board for Mel Kiper. He's been mocked from ESPN as well to go number 16 to the New York Jets. I would really like Kayden McDonald. I think he's really talented. But I do have to admit, I feel a little bit wary about drafting defensive tackle in the first round because typically that's a position that if you get into the second, you can get in the third with some really good options left. And we've seen a lot of, highly taken defensive tackles over the last couple of years really not pan out. Feels like more than some other positions. So I would be cautious about Kayden McDonald. How about Alontae Vega Ionae, or Vega Ionae? Interior offensive lineman out of Penn State, number 17 on the big board for Mel Kiper. He's mocked 28 to the Cleveland Browns, so maybe it's a little bit of a reach if you get him at 14. Regardless, we know you need help on the interior of the offensive line. I think the plan next year is to have Emory Jones be your left guard and then draft a right guard and then move with those two guys as the interiors. I think that's a great plan as well. Peter Woods, another defensive tackle out of Clemson. He's number 18 on the big board. Look, when it comes to Peter Woods in the NFL draft, I'm a little bit wary because as I preached last year when we talked a lot about Shamar Stewart, I am production over projection. And Peter Woods did not produce much this last season. Funny enough, he was mocked as number 14 the Baltimore Ravens in ESPN's mock draft. I don't know. I would be wary about it. He also plays a position, like I said, interior defensive lineman, I think is a really big coin flip when you get them that early in the draft. Reuben Bain Jr., though, that's a name I would like to see. Number 19 on Mel Kiper's big board, edge rusher out of Miami. Mock number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think there's a decent chance he could fall down to you. If you watch any playoff game for Miami this season, you have seen Reuben Bain. Him and Akeem Mesidor absolutely haunt opposing offensive linemen. He can flex inside. He can play outside. He can do anything you want him. He's fast. He's strong. I think my favorite thing about him is he's got an unbelievable motor. Does not quit. Would be really excited about the chance to add a prospect just like him. Are you excited that the Ravens had the 14th overall pick? If you are, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and like today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Gage, we can skip that one, and we can just go into the questions. Coming up right now, we got a ton of questions from all of the awesome flock members, okay? This is my favorite part about Wednesday live shows. You guys get to ask me all the questions you want to know. And we got this one from Ladio Lumita. Do you think Monken is gone? Well, at the current recording of this video, it is Wednesday. It's going out on a Sunday. So he could be gone by now. If he's not, I don't imagine him staying because it came out, one of the reasons that the Ravens fired John Harbaugh is he refused to let go of Todd Monken. Apparently, Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson had a couple of disagreements, a little bit of dissension in that relationship. John Harbaugh was kind of the middle guy, and they wanted Monken gone because they wanted a guy that Lamar Jackson gelled well with. That wasn't Monkey. John Harbaugh didn't want to let him go. So I do not think he will be back. In fact, they wanted him fired in the first place. Attendance squad. Here's my draft order. First round, right guard. Second, edge rusher. Third, wide receiver. What are your thoughts? Love this question. I think it should be guard, edge rusher, defensive tackle in the first 3 rounds. Because you can still get a really good wide receiver in the 4th and 5th. Okay? But I think it's guard, edge rusher, defensive tackle in any order. I would prefer guard or edge rusher in the first round, but then defensive tackle, guard, edge rusher in the 2nd and 3rd. Really, you cannot go wrong. Those are your 3 massive, and I'm talking massive needs. Okay? So, I think that's what I would say. If there's a mailbag, short of hiring me, I'd endorse me. I'd go Spags, Flores, Saleh, if defense with Dable / Kingsbury. I would not mind Flores or Saleh. I'm not super interested in Steve Spagnuolo. Look, he's been a head coach before, so I don't think that would be horrible. But, he's 66. I think he's older than John Harbaugh is. I am not for, hiring a super old guy. Now, I'm not being ageist. I'm not give me anybody under 40, and that's it. I think that's ridiculous. But if you're above 63 in this coaching search, I'm not interested. I would love a guy who could be super relatable to players. And it might be mean to say I don't know if those guys can. And if you disagree, let me know down below. Something I know you don't disagree with. Life insurance is very, very important. So that's why we got to talk about our awesome friends over at Ethos. Because as you know, my wife Kennedy and I got married a year and a half ago. And I imagine we'll buy a house and start having kids sometime soon. If something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. After watching someone close to me go through loss, I saw how quickly grief can turn into financial stress. That experience changed how I think about protecting my family. Life insurance isn't about expecting the worst, but it's about making sure the people you love are supported no matter what. That's why I recommend life insurance through Ethos. You can get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Application times may vary. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. As a March 2025 Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/NFL Daily. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote for $3 million in coverage. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. We appreciate Ethos for sponsoring today's show. Mog says, why would a defensive-minded head coach be better for Lamar when Lamar already has wasted years trying to carry this team and coaches? A defensive head coach might trade eight. I don't think anybody's come in here and trade Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, in fact, is the reason people want to have this job. Let's talk about the head coaching openings right now. You got the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray sucks. You've got the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders sucks. You got the New York Giants. Jackson Dart is a pretty decently big unknown. Las Vegas Raiders. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. This is like the only opening where you've got a future Hall of Famer at quarterback. So whoever comes in here, they're not going to trade Lamar Jackson. And I think defensive-minded head coach might be better for Lamar because they control the defense basically. They can get an offensive play caller in here and be like, hey, you're basically the head coach of that side of the football. So I think that'd be pretty beneficial. Lincoln 81421. Who do you think the Ravens should trade for this offseason? Great question. I think Max Crosby is a guy I would be extremely interested in. I think he is probably my number 1, 2, and 3. There seems to be a little dissension between him and the Las Vegas Raiders for the first time in a while. Ever, in fact. He's always said, hey, look, I'm a Raider for life, ladies and gents. But he might not be. Okay? Sensing a little bit of, non-excitement between those two parties. Regardless, Max Crosby, that's it. Who's going to be franchise tagged? I don't know. Probably not Linderbaum, if that's what you're asking. Because I believe the franchise tag for offensive linemen is just offensive lineman blanketed. So, it's averaging also offensive tackles who get paid a lot more than centers do. So that number is very, very high. I don't know if anybody will, Bonfetta. I really don't. Do you think You're going to trade up to get best players available? No. If anything, I can see this team trading down. In fact, I would not be surprised if this team traded down. I would be shocked if this team traded up. Funny enough. But thanks for the question. Let's get to John's question, Gage, if you could pick it up, if you don't mind. I do like this, though. Latios' thoughts on current OC Todd Monken. Look, I loved him, but after everything that came out about him and Lamar Jackson not really gelling, I don't think he'll be back. I don't think he should be back. You think the Ravens need any receivers? From John. Look, I do. I think so. I think they got to figure out what they want to do with Zay Flowers. I don't think he's a wide receiver one. I think he would be a hell of a wide receiver two. But, like, do you see Zay Flowers, and do you think he's like a top 20 wide receiver in football? I don't think so. That might sound harsh, but I don't think he is. Jarmo, what do you think about signing Tariq Woolen at free agency and trading Marlon to free cap? I would like both of those. Now, Tariq Woolen wouldn't, like, fire me up to sign a free agency. I would be happy with it. And then trading Marlon, free up some cap. Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. On Friday, I put out my perfect offseason. That was like number 3 on my perfect offseason, was moving on from Marlon Humphrey. This will be our last question of the day. The Grand Mexican Devil. Interesting. The Grand Mexican Devil. Oh, that's good. Can you get the guy running the Seahawks today to come on and talk about Clint Kubiak? It seems Seahawks fans don't care if he leaves. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Don't trust what Finley says, okay? But yeah, that's a good look. If it gets serious, I will have him on. That's a great suggestion. I love that. Thanks for being an executive producer. We're gonna get out of here. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll see you next time.